Hey, okay, we are live. We're live. Live, 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 live. I shouldn't sing while I type. It's hard to do two things at once. And here I am streaming, playing video games, and talking at the same time. Gasp. Red circle. Oh yeah, I need to move that over. Okay. Come join me as I play. Continue to play through Kentucky Route Zero. Smiley face and link. Boom. And now I spam my friends. Spam, spam, spam. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Boop. Boop. Let's see what's happening over on this. Boop. And the final boop. Okay. Okay, so we go over here. Go into live streaming. I reload it because I don't think chat's working. There we go. Don't want to repeat of last time. Haha, no. Okay. We'll cancel that. We'll move that there. And then we can display capture, bring that up, go back to chat. Okay. Should probably lower my friends. You do not need to know who my friends are. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let us begin. Move that out of the way. Okay, hey folks, welcome to this edition of the Saturday afternoon stream. Yes, I believe everything's working. I'm so paranoid about all this working properly. Just every week seems to be, oh, you forgot to do this one little thing. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. It has been threatening to rain here for about 3 days, meaning it's just really humid, really disgusting out there. Summer is technically over, but no one tells the weather that. It's usually kind of disgusting till at least late April, early May, usually. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a reprieve, but we'll see. Anyways, last time on Kentucky Route Zero, let me pull that. We finished Act 3. We did the in-between bit, which was the phone thing, which I actually had to hold up to my ear because remember at the time I was like, why is it so quiet? I can't hear anything. I even put the subtitles on, which I think I'll take off now because they're kind of just for the sound effects and such. So we don't need them. Don't need them at all. But yeah, we're in Act 4 now. We're on the Mucky Mammoth, this ship that goes down the Echo River, which is apparently connected to Zero in some way. Will and Kate are the two that run it. And we get choices now, whether to stay on the boat with certain characters or go off with certain characters. Conway is now drinking quite heavily, and his arm has kind of turned into that skeletal structure that his leg has turned into. So we're kind of still on our way to find 5 Dogwood Drive, but things seem to be falling apart. So, without further ado, let us begin. Oh yeah, I should probably turn Mr. Controller on. Come on, Mr. Controller. You can do it. Test the Bluetooth, damn it. That's what I usually do before I start. Seems to work better. I always have such trouble with Bluetooth. There it is. Loading. We are loading. Okay, let's see if I can. Yep, there we go. Options, option. It doesn't feel like I'm getting. Oh, no, that's on. Weird. We'll know soon enough, won't we? Nightfall, scene 3. I believe, yeah, I chose to stay behind on the boat with Shannon while the others went to a bar. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. Sorry, guys. Again, just can't have this work properly, can I? Something's gotta go wrong. What's going wrong? Settings. Yeah, it's not there. Okay. Oh, I'm a fool. I'm a foolish, foolish fool. Ah, dear, this again. Always something, isn't it? Oh my goodness. God, I feel like such a chump. There we go. There's the sound. Ugh. So disgusting with myself. Anyways. Ah, yeah, she was going to try and fix the VCR. Shelves are full of dusty tapes. Some may have been relabeled several times, the stickers piling up thick on their spines. Birds! Watch. Blue-black morning swims across the screen. The bird watcher tramps through dewy grass. He stops with a wet grunt and rests the camera on a pile of rocks. Birds from great distances. Episode 12 appears briefly on screen. He twists the lens by hand, pushing the frame past trees, onto the road, and coming to a halt, zoomed in on a fuzzy, fist-sized artifact resting on the momentary stroke of a telephone wire. Shannon and the birdwatcher observe. He breathes heavily, and she holds her breath like she's afraid he might hear, afraid of distracting him or of being discovered and contaminating his perfect isolation. Traffic picks up, indifferent. As the sky lightens, the black smudge in the center of the flame gradually becomes more prominent, but never in any greater detail. Not bad. Well, I could go see the dog and the cat. Can I move? Oh, no, I can't. She's in this room until we're done here. Shannon comes through the video archive. More birds! Oh. Ooh. I was going to say we have to go for the question mark, but then there's this funeral thing. I'm kind of interested in the funeral thing. An elderly couple sit on folding chairs in the middle of a TV studio, undecorated except for a funeral lily in a thin blue vase on the table. The lights are a bit too dim to make out their features, She reads from a newspaper with unhurried efficiency. Gloria B. of Munfordville passed away on Monday at her residence. Survivors include her children, Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Bobby, all of Munfordville. A memorial service will be held at 7 p.m. Thursday at Hatton Huffman Funeral Home in Munfordville with cremation to follow. She never knew Gloria. He thinks he may have heard the name, wondering aloud if she ever worked at the cafe down there in Munfordville. The woman who ran that place was once called Gloria, or maybe still is. They take a call, someone who knew Gloria B., if not very well. The caller once installed a satellite dish at Gloria's house, a 900-square-foot ranch-style home on 2 acres at a dead end, packed by weeds and pine. Hey, it's Drew. Hello, Drew. I can see the chat, it's just a little small, so I'll move over here and I'll boop, boop, boop. There we go. Now I can see the chat. Now we can go back. When the caller mounted the ladder up to Gloria's roof, she slid open her window and tugged urgently at his pant leg. He followed her gaze behind the house to 2 wild turkeys picking through the weeds. Gloria and the caller watched, silent and still, as the huge birds foraged obliviously into the trees. Then he installed the satellite dish. Oh, come on. Now the thing isn't working? There we go. How I'm doing? I'm okay, I guess. Didn't wake up well. A little hurty in places. Things weren't going well with the stream, but everything seems to have settled, so I'm now in for an afternoon of playing through Kentucky Route Zero. How about yourself? Your video was a smash hit. Sad. I just noticed the little bugs down the bottom. Or they could be crabs or something. Okay, well now let's look at the question mark thing. Shane comes through the video archive. More birds, question marks, art thing. Oh, well, I kind of want to do art thing, but let's go with the question mark. Is the coffee still gurgling? Nah, the coffee worked its magic. And, I mean, I feel like I could have a second one, maybe during break. That awful hum. It seems to start before Shannon even hits play. Then there's the familiar room. There are the blank gray walls marked with tape and school desks. And this time she notices a few more details. The murky carpet like standing water, some video equipment stashed in the corner, a row of lockers. There's Weaver, looking serenely at the camera. As before, she starts speaking, and as before, there's no sound but that hum. Shannon finds Weaver's words coming back to her as they appear in captions on the screen. Mayo, school, and these magnificent tragic horses. Haley was touched that everyone liked the song? Well, she should be. I mean, it's really good work. Yeah, it was a great video. Had a lot of fun in the premiere as well. Go underground, as deep as you can go. The air is cool and the earth is damp, and when you close your eyes, you are surrounded by the dead. Remember where that is? You'll find your way from there. I think this place is what you're looking for. Some of it will wash away soon, but I think you'll be happy here, even without the Mayo school. The text repeats for a few minutes, and Shannon stops the tape. Now that I played through the whole game, that's interesting. Okay, so now I can go out now if I want to. So I was just watching tapes until I picked that one. Gotcha. I guess I could watch the art thing still. Yeah, I want to watch the art thing. And then we'll go explore. We'll talk to Homer. At first she thinks the video might be paused, but on closer inspection she can see the edges of the frame shrinking inwards around the chairs, desk, and loose gray furniture of a sterile waiting room. She watches for a while. She's not sure for how long. Several minutes. The zoom tightens so gradually she sometimes forgets it's happening at all and finally rests on an oscillating desk fan. She ejects the tape before the next part of the triptych begins. Okay. Well, that was odd. I've heard that word before, triptych. What is that? Anyways, let's go talk to Homer. Can I talk to Homer? I can't talk to Homer. And the cat's ignoring me. Main deck. It's kind of weird with all the outside lines going in and out, in and out. Oh, cool. I'm happy, Drew. I sent Drew the link for Sparks' latest single, The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, the video with Kate Blanchett. I can't get the song out of my head. I've watched the video for days now. It just keeps in there. I really recommend, Drew, their 2020 album, A Steady Drip, Drip, Drip. I listened to that on a whim. I'd never heard of them before, which is remarkable because they've been making music since the 70s. And after I found that album, I did go back and check out a lot of their other stuff, which is all great, really. I'm now a Sparks fan. But yeah, A Steady Drip, Drip, Drip. The album begins with All That, which I absolutely just love. It like grabbed my attention immediately. There's a song called iPhone, which I just really laughed at, although that's further down in the album. Now, between me and my friend Kenneth, the song Lawnmower is a fun joke just because it's a song about a lawnmower, and that's kind of what they do. They create really cool music about just, sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's poignant, oftentimes it's just silly, but it all sounds really good. Yeah, really like Sparks. Oh, and their first big single, like back in the 70s, was I think it's called This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us, and that's great. You watch the video and they're like so young, but like the singer's voice, it hasn't changed much over the years. Okay, let's talk to Kate and Will. So I'm really looking forward to their new album, which is dropping this year. Apparently the album is called The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, so the single is the title track. No, it was only a few notes, slow and sad. Like funeral music, you know? I don't remember it being sad, just simple and unburdened. Maybe that's what funeral music sounds like to me, unburdened. Oh, hello. Kate and I were just trying to remember the Mammoth song, but neither of us has heard it for years. Will just found the mechanism. In the mammoth's belly, hidden in gritty matted fur, it's like a big music box, a slowly spinning cylinder covered in metal pins that pluck her dulcet guts and pump the bellows in her bowels. But some of the pins are rusted and worn away, easy to replace, if we can even remember what the notes were. Did I hear you browsing the archive next door? Find anything good? I found something pretty unsettling, actually. Oh dear, I don't even know what's on half of those tapes anymore. They used to all be movies and that kind of stuff. I like nature documentaries especially. Some people left home movies or little art videos they made, but that damn VCR devours anything you leave in it. Just switches into record mode at random, I think. It picks up whatever is coming in over the antenna. Of course, the only station we get down here is that WEVP community television, you know. They've got that show with the gentleman playing banjo in his birthday suit. I'm sure you've seen it. Oh, yes. And if there's no tape in the machine when it tries to start recording, it makes an awful sound, like putting a squeaky toy in a food processor. Ugh, I can hear it above deck. Awful. That reminds me of a movie I watched a year or two ago. I think it's called Broadcast Signal Intrusion. I didn't end up liking it, like how it ended. I didn't like the ending of it, but the lead up was pretty cool. The premise is, you know, this guy's working with old videotapes, like archiving footage and stuff, and then he finds like an old broadcast from like, I think it's like the 70s or 80s where some weirdo hijacks the signal and plays their own kind of really creepy, unsettling tape. So he starts to explore like how this can happen and who's been doing it, and is there more than one of these. Then it kind of goes into, like paranoid thriller territory before it really just goes off the rails. But yeah, it's the premise and the slow build to like paranoid is really good. Oh dear, there's someone drilling. That's annoying. That's why I put the sign up. Please do not rewind after watching. At least that way nothing gets taped over anymore. Man, what is that? I'm sure I can fix it. My hero. We were talking earlier. She has an intuition for these things. I'd just like to take things apart. You should meet Dashiell. He did a lot of volunteer work for WEVP in the early days, wiring up antennas and relays, stuff like that. I think you two would have a lot to talk about. He works at the telephone exchange. No, I'm afraid he's been let go. Oh yeah? That's odd. He still takes the ferry to work every day. I'm sure he's at the telephone exchange right now, in fact. I dropped him there a few hours ago. We are stopping at the telephone exchange again shortly to deliver their mail and pick up their trash. You should go ashore when we do. Ask for Dashiell. Oh, and that's the end of that scene. I rarely miss a chance to lounge on the beach around the rum colony. I do enjoy a drink, though I don't find their signature liquor suits me. But this time I elected to stay aboard and shoot the breeze with Kate over some mineral water. Still, I heard reports. Hey, it's Dorkax. Hello, Dork. Welcome to Kentucky Route 0. Heard the old man went a little deeper in his cups. Ezra told me about the dark corners. Junebug missed an appointment, but didn't seem perturbed. Let's explore the fall of Conway. Not at all surprising. He seemed to have some momentum, and Patch mixes up some pretty magnetic drinks. What do I think about guest starring in a top 100 video game bosses video? Man, you could think of that many? Sure, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Why not? Oh, if we're talking about the rum colony, I should tell you about Patch. He's the bartender, general manager, creative director. I guess that means he books the music. He's pretty much run the place for the last 7 years. A lot of folks assumes he owns it, but that is not the case. Oh yeah. So the first time I played this game, I elected to stay on the boat with Shannon as well, so I've never seen the rum colony. It's funny, after I went to Act 4 the first time, pardon me, I recognized that the choices between scenes, like, that you get a whole new scene basically by choosing the other, and it would definitely affect the playthrough in terms of being part of whatever transpires. But I don't know if you folks find this as well, but I find that when I play games with narrative decisions that affect how things turn out, I often keep picking the same things when I replay them because that's the choice I agree with the most in terms of either my own values or what I think the character should do. It's odd, isn't it? The idea that, video games with narrative choices, one of the benefits of the medium, supposedly, or its strengths, is that you can give the player agency by having them decide how the story plays out. And there's a whole conversation after this about how that's actually bad storytelling, because you need to control the beginning, middle, and end for adequate payoff and a satisfying conclusion. But I do find it interesting how, when I play one of those games, I'm fully cognizant of how important it is or how interesting it is to be able to influence the story, but I always end up choosing the same things. Oh, there's been a lot of talk since I was rambling. Oh, and you're talking about morality systems. I might have told this story before, but so the first Mass Effect is one of my favorite games of all time. I don't really like 2 or 3 all that much, but I love the first one. I think I had played through it 4 times. I think I played through it before I finally forced myself to do a Renegade playthrough. I did try once before, but I got about 10 minutes into it, I think. It was, I think actually might have been even earlier. Basically, Joker's laughing at the start of that game, and you come into the room, and you can either join the joke or be like, we're not here to play around. Be professional. I just couldn't handle what a jerk Joker was being. Sorry, what's his name? Shepard was being to Joker. That I'm like, no, I can't do this. It was years later before I finally forced through that Renegade playthrough. Sometimes though I misjudge a situation with my gut instinct, so I end up second guessing myself. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say to that is also, since it's a game and there's no real stakes, because it's a story, so you can always reload or replay it. There's no real danger in going out if your gut instinct turns out to be wrong. Hey, it's Andrew. Hey, Andrew, I'm glad you could pop in, even if it's only for a little while. We're talking about making the same narrative choices in video games when we replay them, because even though we have the option to go different paths, it's like I usually end up picking the same thing over and over because it's my values or it's how I like the story to play out. Sometimes I just want my characters to hug each other. More games need dedicated hug buttons. What was that game I played that had the hug button? Was it with Tom, the Keita Takahashi game? That game's weird, man. Fun time, though. I mean, it's a Keita Takahashi game. Yeah, that's a good point. It's easier to be a jerk when you have a silent protagonist. Which is odd when you think about it, because, it's the same thing with like a game with a character creator. You're kind of imprinting yourself onto the game. So are you saying it's easier to be a jerk when you feel more in control rather than you're just guiding a character through their predetermined journey? Kirby kisses people. Okay, let's continue. But I'll keep looking at chat and keep responding. It's one of those interesting discussions. Like, I find, actually, yeah, so in Breath of the Wild, which isn't too narratively heavy, but it does have, you can respond in different ways when talking to people, as well as when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV. From Heaven's Ward onward, they gave the player more narrative dialogue choices because they felt maybe the player wanted more agency in how their character responds to things happening in the world. And with both those games, I find I'm defaulting to whatever the default choice is, which is usually right at the top of the dialogue tree. And it's not so much that I don't care, it's more that maybe the default is kind of like your general, for people who aren't interested, this is a good response. And I'm seeing how that plays out. And for the most part, in both, yeah, that has played out well through these games so far. Okay, the Rum colony is owned by a dead man named Vernon. Technically, it would be owned by the power company, who once bought a sizable interest from Vernon as part of a state-sponsored investment program. But a clause in that arrangement requires them to keep their hands off the day-to-day and most of the profits, so long as Vernon walks this earth. The upshot of all this is that nobody came forth to identify the body. Patch is a good guy, though. Kind, trustworthy, and he mixes a strong Mai Tai if that's your thing. Valkyrie and Homer lounged below deck. Clara, Kate, and I stopped to do some business by telephone. Huh. Spending time with a dog, that's gotta win out, right? Act 4, Scene 4. The Mucky Mammoth. It's just the two dogs. Oh, if they actually talk, that's going to be amazing. But if the scene, that's the scene. While those two gentle beasts kept things under control aboard the Mucky Mammoth, I went ashore with the rest of the crew to make use of a public telephone. I called into my answering machine, routinely neglect for intervals of months to chip away at the pile. Kate checked in on a client of hers. She's a birth doula, in addition to being a tugboat captain. Did you know that? Clara talked to her sister in Lithuania. Illness in the family, I gather. Anyway, the evening hit a low point not much later on, so let's take a quiet moment here to listen to the river and reflect on the unburdened sleep of dogs. I made the right choice. Ezra taught us a card game. Shannon, Ezra, the old man, and I stopped at the Ravansky Center to make some quick cash. That's a tough one. Like, ooh. Yeah, I'm going with Ezra. Yeah, the same thing when we were on the Zero. It's all this weird wireframe stuff. Very odd. The Mucky Mammoth. And I'm getting an error from YouTube. Is everybody watching the stream still? Is it going okay? Clara draws a card. 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. Kate draws a card. 7 blue petals, 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. To Kate, what are we listening to? Oh, just this tape a friend of mine sent me. They live in the desert. Visinks? Something like that. Sounds good on the Mammoth's PA. Yeah, that's the only way I listen to anything lately. Haha. Your turn, buddy. Ezra draws a card. Nine gray feathers. I think it was doves before the breaths. Oh no, it was 7, 3, 8. I was wrong. Oh, you're beating at your own game. Haha. I'm just glad it didn't come to my turn again. You took a bullet there, my friend. It's a hard game. That's why I like it. And we're only, how many cards in now? 5 or something. I assume it will go to 52. Yeah, it's the whole deck. Oh, goes till everyone forgets a card. Yeah, I like that better. I'm game designing. I could go on a long time then. Well, not with this crowd, I guess. We're all too soggy-brained. I know I am. I even take homemade supplements for it. Shade-grown lichen boiled with the peel of a lemon, then frozen and crushed with oak leaves. It's a scalp massage oil. You can smell it if I get close. It dries the brain out a bit, which is helpful for a good memory, if you can remember to use it often enough in the first place. Ah yes, the danger with ADD medication. Can you remember to take it? Oh, don't worry, the soggy brain has its benefits too. If your brain is soft and damp, new ideas can make a clear impression, like a boot in wet sand. But like wet sand, it can easily get muddied and washed away, so there's a trade-off, see? Yep. It's a shame we can't have it both ways, isn't it? What's this game called, Ezra? Forgetting game. Oh, that was pleasant. Kate likes to give her passengers the opportunity to make some floating around money, and that lab pays cash in small envelopes upon completion of their little gauntlet of non-invasive tests. It's a project of the university. I think they're studying... I don't remember. The Mammoth also collects their trash, mostly shredded paper, though Kate says once they left half a vending machine on the dock. But nobody seemed too interested in the lab stop that night. They stayed aboard and played a card game. I read a book. Let me tell you about it. It's set in a small town in the Pacific Northwest. The town is never named, but it's colorfully described: woolly, fog, broken coastline, provincial shopkeepers. The main characters are mail carriers. They're co-workers, Mimi and Jen. Mimi is older than Jen, but they seem to be at the same point in their lives. They like their work. They have a playfully antagonistic relationship with their boss. I actually only read a bit from the middle. Huh. The two had cause to reflect on the history of their work together. Something got messed up, a document misplaced or filed under the wrong heading. I wasn't really paying close attention to that part, but the event prompted a long conversation about the procedural history of their work together that illustrated a history of their friendship in broad suggestive strokes. In my life's work as the Echo River's premier anecdotalist, I am a premier anecdotalist, an anecdotalist by nature. I've always found that a carefully exerted moment is more powerful than any epic history. That's my excuse anyway for reading books from the inside out. So I stopped there. My eyelids were getting heavy. We were headed back to the lake and a chance encounter with the Iron Pariah. Boating, boating, boating. Ooh, wait, is it widening? Or are we just turning a corner? Oh, is that a forest? That looks like a forest. If I recall, in the last playthrough I went into the forest. Yeah, definitely Ezra helping Kate forage for mushrooms. A lot more interesting than Will taking a nap. Act 4. Oh, wait. Yeah, scene 6. You know, to this day, I still get the 4 and the 6 in Roman numerals. Not mixed up, but like I always have to take at least maybe a couple seconds to work out which is which in my brain. Oh, wow. Those are some trees. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Simultaneous storytelling. So how am I going to cover this? I guess I'll choose which side to go, and then I'll read from there. So we got Kate, and we got narrator. Huh. Kate gently rolls a fallen branch and plucks something white from the underside. She holds it up for Ezra to examine. Pluricibella porgens. The common name is angel wings. Isn't that pleasant? They have a delicate, springy texture, and they're tasty, like sweet moss. Would you like a bite? I kind of want to do the second one because that's a very kid answer, but I think Ezra is adventurous. Okay. Ezra takes a small bite and ruminates. What do you think? Is it supposed to be spicy? I think it got a bug. It does taste like moss. Personally, I like to be able to tell where my food came from by flavor alone. I like to taste my surroundings. I mean, it keeps me connected to the whole thing. My mushroom hunting mentor told me it's useless to pretend to know mushrooms. They escape your irritation. The more you know them, the less sure you feel about identifying it. She taps the corner of the small red book she's carrying. That's why I always bring my favorite guidebook. Kate points to a small mushroom growing in the dirt. Oh, here's an important one to recognize, though. Look, see the sort of greenish pallor of the cap? Amanita phalloides. I'm so bad with the Latin names. Or I guess Greek. That's Greek. Amanita means mushroom, and phalloides means, never mind. The elusive penis mushroom. It smells like honey. Yeah, sort of nauseating though, right? Sickly sweet. Death cap. That's the common name. It's killed a lot of people, this little mushroom, including a few Roman emperors. It's a revolutionary, haha. I think I've said before the old Terry Pratchett quote from one of the Discworld books. All mushrooms are edible. Some are only edible once. Even the Buddha died from eating a mushroom when he was very old. That's just what they do. Clear away old things. Make room for new things. That's a nice way to look at it. Pretty important, right? I've always thought they deserved a little more respect. Would you like to help me look for a few more? I have a sort of shopping list. It's the Pride Month? I thought that was, what, July? June, July? But you don't need it to be Pride Month. You can happily eat penis mushrooms all year round. Would you like to help me look for a few more? I have a sort of shopping list. Great. Look for... Actually, just grab any mushrooms that catch your eye and throw them in this bag. Let me know when you're done and we'll see what you've got. Have fun. That's the second rule of mushroom hunting. The first rule is ask Kate before eating anything, okay? Maybe it's in the plastic bag. Plastic bag. Look at me quoting Clone High. Let's investigate the stump or the tree. Ezra pokes around the base of a cypress tree. A brownish clump of mushrooms feathers out from the base of the cypress tree. A few feet above, several pale blue puffs cling to the trunk. He didn't like to play in the house. It was always too cold. Seemed to store up the cold at night, then slowly discharge it into his bones during the day while the sun bounced feebly off the windows. But he liked to play in the woods behind the house. The woods were full of deer. His dad said the deer liked best to live on the edges of forests. Recent development in the area had created a lot of fresh edges, so they massed here and sometimes ran into the road. Let's look at the blue puffs. He prods one of the pale orbs with a stick, and it cracks open a little, releasing a fine dust into the air. He felt like the world outside the woods had somehow slipped away while he was gone. Now there was nothing but the woods. He kept going. Ezra carefully removes a puffball and puts it in his bag. Do the stump or the plastic bag? Let's look at the bag next. The bag is ragged and waterlogged. He nudges it with a stick, coiling up a plastic thread and spreading it out onto the beach. Catch me gulping a handful this June. Why wait? Why deprive yourself of such pleasure? He'd taken a knife from the kitchen, selected for its long, serrated edge, meant for slicing bread. Its teeth had reminded him of a saw blade. He was determined to collect some firewood to heat the house. There are no mushrooms in the bag. Ezra closes his eyes and listens to the water and the distant clicking of bats. So now I can't do that side. That side's done. We're going to this. She lit a second cigarette with the embers of the first one. She trembled, sweating a little under a heavy coat. It was warmer near the doors, but she was following directions. No smoking within 25 feet of hospital entrance. So she stood by a hot dog cart, parked at the edge of the sidewalk. Oh, wait, we got some more now. Oh, I want to go back to Ezra, but maybe I should stay with... Oh, no, I can't go back, so I can't really read that. I mean, I could if I focus, but that's weird. Okay, Drew, thanks for stopping by. Have a good sleep. Oh, you got one? Let's see it. Ezra hands Kate the blue puffball he took from the cypress tree. A blue puffball? Interesting. I don't think I've seen this exact species before. This one's too old to be of any use anyway. Puffballs get all dried out like this as they age, till they're so delicate that it only takes the slightest agitation. Kate gently shakes the puffball. It bursts into a cloud of spores. And the wind does the rest. See, it's weakness as a survival strategy. A kind of radical, transformative weakness. You've got me beat. I didn't find a thing. So, you have a brother out there somewhere? Julian, he's going to come find me in the morning after the work is done. Yep, we worked pretty hard. We used to spend part of each night looking for my folks, but now we pretty much just work. But maybe that'll change now. I have some new friends. Do you have a family? I left home when I was very young, not much older than you, actually. I bounced around jobs and shelters and finally found my way down to the Echo River. Never looked back. Basically been on my own since then. Well, that's not really true. Just about everyone who sets foot aboard the Monkey Mammoth feels like family to me now. I guess if nobody's family, then everybody's family. Haha. It's like Syndrome's rant in The Incredibles. If everyone's super, then no one will be. These are the only trees in this whole cave. Who planted them here? What's this island for? It looks like someone made it on purpose. Oh, right. It's kind of a nice, simple shape. Pleasantly minimal island geometry. I'm sure it could be natural, though. I mean, I don't know if the island itself is man-made or not, but I guess I don't know much about this place, really. It's supposed to be some kind of memorial to something? Will would know more. Sorry, it's a mystery. Ezra kicks the dirt. Ah, hello, Lord Seafood. Popping in while on your lunch break, eh? Well, hope you got a good lunch. They're hunting for mushrooms, so hopefully you're not eating mushrooms. Oh, you've been playing the nunnery games. I'm glad you liked the 999 video. I'm actually really proud of that one. It's a pity. I mean, I say it in the video, but I played the DS version first, so you know the re-release that you can play on PC and console, it might be just fine, but I can never remove my experience of playing that original game and how it was designed around that hardware. But I have that memory. Are you having seafood at lunch? I'm so funny. I'm so funny. What would really be ironic is if he despises seafood. On to Virtue's Last Reward now. I hope you enjoy that one. I really liked Virtue's Last Reward. Even the second playthrough was still... I think it is the best out of the three, even though I think 999 is more emotionally resonant. And then, Zero Time Dilemma has some interesting ideas, but it's just not that good, sadly. Well, you know, I don't like it as much. Months later, she came across a book on homeopathic medicine in a used bookstore and bought it. She thought it was mostly bullshit, but found the author's notes on the unpredictability of mushrooms immediately compelling, spiritual even. She started collecting mushrooms on hikes, never eating them, just collecting, identifying, and discarding. Eventually, she connected with the Lexington Mycological Society and began to study in earnest the medicinal uses of fungi. Yeah, mushrooms are pretty amazing. Also really tasty. I love mushrooms. Yeah. So, stone monument. Ezra examines a large stone monument. The monument is covered with lichen and painted text. Ezra reads the text. Rock graffiti, X+O forever. Ooh, you hear that it's like ghosts in the mix. Or maybe it's supposed to be bats? But it kind of seems a little dissonant with the kind of the atmospheric music that has been here so far. Intrusive. And it looks around the shore. Oh, let's go here. It's a mystery. I'll search for clues. She put out her cigarette, said goodbye to the hot dog vendor, and spent the rest of the afternoon listening to doctors, trying to understand the world as they did. A list of discrete injuries to be had. But the Monkey Mammoth has appeared. Maybe that's got something to do with the noise? Like its interference? Ezra steps on a plastic bottle. A wooden post projects from the sand nearby. I don't like that sound, though. Ezra examines the wooden post. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not the Mucky Mammoth. That's a derelict abandoned ship with a butt-ton of cats on it, and that's what the sound is. Ghost Kitty Cruise. Ezra inspects the contents of his pockets. All right, what do you got? That stone-faced monument has X plus O forever painted on it. Interesting. What do you think that means? Hug and kiss forever? Or they could be initials. Xavier and Olivia forever. Xerxes and Olivia. Xerxes and Oliver. What do you think that monument is for? I'm not sure anyone remembers. There's a pole in the ground over there. It's all scratched up. Oh yeah, I bet people tie their boats there. Maybe somebody who takes care of the trees. Could be. Or other travelers and mushroom hunters like us. Well, Ezra, I can't say I know what that all adds up to. Like I said, I wish Will were here. He'd have some local history for us. We can ask him back on the boat. Ah, we're now together. Hello, Vortex. With your weird blue Pac-Man ghost guy. Kate and Ezra look up at an old battleship drifting by. Did you stream in the last hour, Vortex? I tried to find where your channel could be, but it wasn't like linked on your Twitter or anything, so I couldn't find if you were streaming or not. This is Kentucky Route Zero. It is kind of an atmospheric, artistic theater kind of adventure game. What did you stream? Let's see. Oh, that's what the Iron Pariah is. It's the cat ship. I don't know much about it firsthand, but I've heard things. Oh, more Ezra story? Someone told me she got close to it by accident and heard a strange wailing sound. She was a passenger on the Mammoth. She said she'd been out fishing on a rowboat, got swept up by a current near the cluttered place. Oh, gotta go? Well, thanks for joining, Pecan. See you next time. Tail Concerto and Spider-Man. Tail Concerto. Is that after the whole discourse of the last couple of weeks now, I'm trying not to use the genre JRPG anymore, but it is one of those, isn't it? I don't know what else to call them. You just call them RPGs, and that's such a huge genre that it doesn't mean anything. Before she knew it, the Iron Pariah was upon her, unimaginably massive up close but eerily silent. That was not silent. The only sound, she said, was lapping of lake water against the iron hull, and a faint sort of, well, she said, a chorus of mews. I'll be damned if I know what that sounds like. I'll never forget what that sounds like. I've never gotten close enough to the ship myself. It's an action-adventure game with dog and cat people. Interesting. Ah, that's where the tail and tail concerto comes from. Ezra's parents shook him awake. They seemed alarmed, but not immediately concerned. They led him back into the house, past the house, into the car. Dad said they were going to stay at the bus station for a while, the one with the little arcade, with the car game he liked. Dad watched him closely in the rearview mirror, expecting Ezra to be excited or confused or scared, but he didn't feel anything. He hardly seemed to hear. In fact, he felt like he was observing the family car from a distance, from far above, from the clouds. Oh, that's the end of Ezra's side. Yeah, turn-based and action helps a little more. Again, they are huge genres, but yeah. Your character is named Waffle, and he drives a mech. That's amazing. Supposedly, there's nobody even important. No people, I mean, there must be something on there. Life is everywhere. Rats, insects, some kind of hardy mold. Part of it could be flooded and host to some of the eyeless fish that live in the echo. Hey, maybe there are some mushrooms growing in there, slowly consuming military rations from over 100 years ago. Oh, mushrooms are growing everywhere. More mysteries. They do pile up over time as people forget the details. Thanks for taking me mushroom picking. Mushroom hunting. You can pick apples because they're right out there in the open. Mushrooms hide. You have to hunt for them. And that's the end of that scene. Back to the boat. It's time to go. Oh, I could just stay here for a while, I guess. But no, we will move on. Oh, it's getting close to break time. See that rough circle of rocky protrusions near the shore? It's more intricate than it looks. More than 2/3 of it is actually underwater. I haven't seen it myself, but listen to this. It's man-made. The rocks weren't placed according to their size, so what's visible is a more or less uniformly random selection of the overall shape. It looks like it might be a spiral, all told, or maybe some kind of meditative labyrinth. At the head of it is a petrified oak stump that was moved here from above ground, of course, decades ago. That's where the ceremony took place. The Loch Lucks were married here. Many frail-tongued observers said they should just go with lock or luck, or split the difference with look or even lick, or really anything else, but it was never going to happen. Okay, I gotta zoom in so I can read the name. Sola Torobo, Red the Hunter. Huh, that's a name. Oh, speaking of old games that it's hard to get a hold of anymore, but luckily are getting remastered, I'm so happy that more people are now going to be able to play Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. I played that on my iPhone back in 2012 or 2013. The Capcom were doing a thing where like all the Layton games and the Ace Attorney games, like the first chapter of all these games was free, and then all the other chapters would be paid DLC, but it was pretty expensive. But they would run sales, and there was one day when my friend Peter, who joins chat often as Wraith Call, he let me know that it was Ghost Trick was on sale on the mobile store. Like all the DLC, you could get the whole thing for, I believe it was 99 cents, so it's like $1.99 in Australian money. So yeah, I bought Ghost Trick for a couple bucks, and I spent the next few weeks playing through that, and yeah, it's great. You know, it's by Shu Takumi, the guy who did the original Ace Attorney games, and it's just as funny and inventive, and yeah, I'm so glad it's like coming out for new platforms. Oh yeah, Matosis did do a video on Ghost Trick. Yeah, it's great. God of War 2018. Yeah, I gave that a try last year when it hit PC. I did not like it, but I feel like just to maybe, fill in that gap as a critic, I need to kind of just play through it, maybe in the evenings, just for myself to see what all the, what the fuss is about, what it is. Anyway, back to the game. Marge Luck and Arrow Locke met in prison. We're filling in the backstory of the Locks, or the Lock Lucks, or Luck. And the cool thing, Dorkex, is unlike a game like 999, Ghost Trick, while it used the DS pretty damn well, it's not needed to experience it in the best way. I played it on an iPhone, which also worked pretty damn well because, using your finger to link between things and stuff. Okay. Greta Luck and Norm Locke were high school sweethearts. Billy Luck and W.H. Locke met in line at the DMV. I like that one better, even though their names are worse than this. Their driver's license photographs were mixed up by the clerk, a mistake they discovered immediately but never corrected. Their engagement was welcome news for the family businesses, who had been looking for some opportunity to merge interests. The Locks ran a busy printing press, and the Lucks managed a fleet of bicycle couriers, or these were the Locks of Lock Large Animal Storage and the Lucks of the Luck Family Nut Company. Let's do that one. Oh, excellent, Vortex. You have 999 still in its best form. Surely someone in some branch of those two great trees had elephant husbandry on the brain. This is all speculation. The ceremony itself was humble and perfunctory, and it must have somehow involved these rocks. Maybe they walked around them in a spiral like a symbol of their ever-tightening bond. Probably the rocks marked the boundaries between the two families, Locks on the inner loop and Locks on the outer, or the other way around. It must have also involved their petrified stump. Neither family is particularly religious, but rumors persist on that the officiant wore a robe. Oh. Wow, I can actually... Okay, so the telephone exchange is a very important scene in the game. And apparently I can just skip it. I can just stay on the boat with Shannon helping to cook mushroom stew instead of Shannon going with Conway to the telephone exchange and having that scene play out. I wonder if I choose this, the other one, the scene will play. Well, look, I can't risk it, so we're going to have to go to the telephone exchange. Yeah, I know, mushroom stew, but no, we got to go to the telephone exchange. That's a very important scene. It's 1:57. So once the scene begins, I will put on some music and I will take my first break of the afternoon. The Echo River Central Exchange. Man, it makes me curious about what happens if you do choose that second option, though. Thanks again for your help. This is about as far as the tugboat can go, you know, noise and lights to serve the bats. Okay. We'll stop there. Let me go over to OBS, lower display cacher. Let me put on some music. Let's see, how about royalty-free big band music? Why not? Okay, so I will go take my break. I'll be back in about 5. See you then.
strange evolutionary process going on. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Okay, I'm back. Let's turn that off. Let's put that back on. Let's open up chat again. And oh, hey, Rue's appeared. Whoa, a lot of chat. Okay, let me go back. Hey, okay, so I am back and hope you all had a good break. I had a good break. Let us continue with this all-important scene in Conductor Act Zero. All important. I saw just before I went on break, Dorcax asked if I'm excited for the Mario movie. Honestly, no. I mean, it looks fine. I'll probably watch it once it hits Blu-ray, DVD, all that. But maybe I'll go see it with friends. I don't know. It looks fine. I not really have any. I don't have any strong feelings either way. I don't really want to go and see it, and I'm not like, oh, this looks bad. I'm just like, eh. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there we go. As far up as the tugboat can go, noise and lights disturb the bats. I usually send Will, but I thought you'd like the chance to meet Dashiell. He's the guy who worked at the TV station, WEVP. So you'll pass through the Bat Sanctuary, which is really nice, by the way. Be sure to check out all the plaques and stuff for cool bat facts. Plenty of time. Anyway, the Echo River Central Exchange, Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. They changed the name when the power company took it. It's just not. This package is going to Poppy. Oh, Jeter, come on, get it together. She's the operator. Going. It's just, yeah, okay. Why can't the internet behave itself? Okay, back to the game. There we go. Bad internet. Bad. I forgot. You may not be interested, but there's this kind of weird memorial sculpture on your way in just before the Bat Sanctuary. I always recommend people at least stop and take a look at it. It's really sort of, I don't know how to say it. You should check it out. Okay, bye. Right. And I can aim the flashlight, or we can turn it off once the bats start. Although it's really hard to control with the controller. With the mouse, it would be a lot easier. You just point out what you want to look at. Hey, Homer's in the tugboat with us. So this is the sculpture he said was kind of weird. Can I like look at it? I guess they're making that, they're moseying on over. That's what tugboats are for. They're for moseying on the water. Mosey, mosey, mosey. There we go. I can look at it now. We claim these helmets in the names of the folks who wore them, and we place them here in their memory, but also as a spit in the greedy green eye of that power company who bought up our old mine and traded our brothers and sisters' safety for a little more yield, but only yielded 28 good men and women dead when the walls collapsed and the tunnels filled with water. Their lungs were black, but now they're washed clean and full of water too, and swept through hidden tunnels into some awful cave we never will find, and so we guess the water buried them for us. So let this here be the marker for their grave. You can feel the rage. And if any son of a bitch from that power company wants to take back these helmets as company property, just you try it and see what will happen. Hey, Elkhorn, that's the mine we met in, where your folks, worked. Looks like it's been here a while. I sure as hell wouldn't mess with it. You'd think whoever wrote it is still that angry? Oh, wow. I don't think you ever forget anger like that. Sure, angry. Mainly just hurt. I think the first one. Wasn't tugboat a wrestler? Maybe. Maybe as a moniker, like, you know, trying to... Dan the Tugboat Addled or something like that. Addleton. Although, yeah, it makes me think of like Earthquake and Typhoon. When I was a kid, I loved Earthquake and Typhoon just because I'm like, they're so big! Oh, I guess you probably don't. This probably stirs up. I mean, how do you... It's fine. I'm glad this is here. People should remember this happened. Or it brings back some anger from me too. I don't think the third one works for me. Yeah, second one feels right. Yeah, that's understandable. I guess that's what a memorial should do, huh? Help you hang on to your feelings. Otherwise, they fade away. That's just what time does. Okay. Now, if I remember, we can't really have a light on because it disturbs the bats. Oh no, we're gonna crash! Ah, we're fine. Oh, looky here. What? You're looking at me like I'm crazy, haha. Just sometimes I forget I don't even really know you that well. Yeah, well, that makes two of us. You know, those guys from the distillery are just making the best of a bad situation, just like the rest of us. Hey, one of them said to me earlier they could even help me take care of these medical bills for my leg, you know? Get it all together on a plan. Consolidated. What? When did you talk to them about that? That sounds like a really bad idea. Hey, if we can find her, maybe Weaver could get you out of this thing with the distillery. She has some experience. Weaver gave them the formula. She's never going back there. That sounds like a really bad idea. Oh, I don't know. They seem to have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff. They've got a whole process figured out. Anyway, I have a feeling it'll all work out. Even this delivery? Yeah, we're almost there, right? Hell, at this point, I bet we could just take off the parking brake and that truck would roll into 5 Dogwood Drive by itself. Listen, that old truck I've been driving belonged to my boss Ira, Lisette's husband. To be honest, Ira didn't like me very much, but somehow Liz got it into her mind that he would have wanted me to have that truck someday, maybe to make up for all the yelling he did, or maybe so his ghost could hold it over me, just one more thing to feel like I owed him for. Anyway, they got their own trucks at the distillery. Now that the antique shop is closing up, I've got no use for that old truck. I was thinking you could take it. Nope, here they come again. Sure, I could keep an eye on it for you until you get straightened out. Sure, okay, sounds good. They're following us. Visitors to the Echo River lopsided striped bat artificial hibernaculum and sanctuary are asked to take extra precautions in order to prevent the introduction of foreign fungal contaminants and the spread of white noise syndrome. Please do not visit the sanctuary during the same day in which you visited any cave known or suspected to host bats infected with white nose syndrome. Sorry, I was thinking of the static that those guys create. Please do not leave your vehicle. If you must leave your vehicle, please remove shoes, clothes, jewelry, headwear, and eyeglasses to ensure you do not bring any foreign spores ashore with you. Please do not touch any bats or structures. The lopsided striped bat is confused by light. If you are using a lantern or other artificial light source, be aware that it may attract and confuse bats. If you are approached by bats, do not panic. Relax. Stop your vehicle and switch off your light. Never touch a bat. That is good advice. Still over there, the bastards. Kind of like a gentle atmospheric hum with the music. Bat fact. Ever talk with your mouth full? Bats do it all the time. Bats talk in extremely high frequency clicks, too high for humans to hear. Then they use their powerful ears to scan for the echoes of these ultrasonic clicks. By comparing very subtle differences in the time these echoes take to come back, differences of just millionths of a second, bats are able to picture their environment with enough accuracy to catch a flying insect. Once a bat has caught an insect in its mouth, it's still flying, so it still needs to avoid running into anything. So bats keep clicking away, even while they munch on a tasty bug snack. It may be poor table manners, but it's crucial for surviving in the dark. Yeah, echolocation is wild, man. Wonder how the other bats know whether one of them is really talking or just chasing a bug. Sometimes it's hard to know with people, too. Oh, yeah, like, how about this weather? I guess there are layers to it, right? Sometimes you just need to get the other person talking so you can check their body language, or hear what their voice sounds like, find out that they're friendly, or angry, or drunk. Bat fact. The lopsided striped bat's natural diet mostly consists of moths and other small insects that breed along the river. Here at the artificial hibernaculum, I'm never going to get used to saying that word, and sanctuary, we use a combination of chemical snares and ultrasonic wards to repel all potentially contaminant-bearing insects. And replace them with our own locally bred and spawned hypoallergenic antiseptic pseudomoths, which we call the little gray nothing moth. You may be thinking that the other moths and insects the lopsided striped bat would have been eating are very much relieved that their natural predator has found another food source. Not so. We've installed netting and highly effective moth traps along the river where the lopsided striped bat normally hunts to balance their escape from the food chain. But eating moths isn't the only systemic contribution these bats make. They also produce a potent fertilizer in the form of guano that helps plant life thrive along the Echo River, the shore of Lake Lith. In order to minimize the sanctuary's impact on subterranean agriculture, we collect their precious guano here at the hibernaculum and manually distribute it through the caves. It's a full-time job. Sounds like a lot of work. It's all fake, except for the bats. Yeah, I guess so. Reminds me of that guy Donald and his crew down there with the computer. Right. It is reassuring to know someone's taking care of everything for these little bats. Yeah, who's going to build the people hibernaculum? Maybe we'll build it ourselves. Maybe we already did. Like the folks in the mine. You said they used to buy stuff, fans, canaries, all those little trinkets to make it bearable. There's still a lot of stuff down there. It feels cluttered, but human. I just mean all people need is enough to pretend we're home, and we can make it anywhere. You get kind of philosophical when you're drinking. Did anyone ever tell you that? Yeah, I guess I do. Nah, this is nothing. I used to have this drinking buddy who would get loaded and tell the weirdest damn riddles, like which is more musical, a truck passing by a factory or a truck passing by a music school? Ha, count your blessings. Throat's getting a little scratchy. Still being followed by those damn distillery guys. Hang on a minute. Feels like there's one kind of hovering right over me. They don't really hover though, do they? I mean, how could they? I guess a lightning bug will hover by beating its wings really fast. Maybe they can do that too. I used to watch lightning bugs in the evening, out of the edge of the woods. My son's kid Charlie, he loved them. You know, he ended up going to college and studying astronomy. I like to think he got his love for stars from those nights watching bugs. Anyway, me and Charlie, sometimes we try to see one of them up close. You lay in the grass and you have to be totally still for a while, like one of those wax sculptures. Don't even breathe, like this. No, you can't see me. I was doing the watching lightning bugs on the grass face. I think I can imagine it. Yeah, you've seen it already. When I fell in the mine, kind of stunned, in shock. Hey, who were you talking to earlier when we met in the mine? You were on the phone with someone. I forgot about that. Just a friend. Alejandra. Okay. She has kids now, so we don't talk as much. I was just venting on the phone about my landlord situation. She was very patient, but I could tell she had no idea what I was talking about. Gets harder and harder to reconnect. I actually hate talking on the phone. Both of these are so true. Gets harder and harder to reconnect. Hey, welcome back, Dorkax. Yeah, no, that's true. Damn, those distillery guys. White nose syndrome is still largely a mystery. We suspect that the white fungal growth which appears on bats' faces and wings irritates and confuses them, causing them to awaken early from hibernation and venture outside, depleting stored energy they need to survive through winter. But biologists are nowhere near curing the disease. It spreads quickly and it is highly fatal. In this way, white nose syndrome has drawn some comparisons to colony collapse disorder as suffered by bees. White nose syndrome and colony collapse disorder are sudden, violent, and mysterious. Will honeybees and the lopsided striped bat be two more lost species wiped out in a geological blink and forgotten to natural history? It's possible that a cure won't be identified in time, so the sanctity of this artificial hibernaculum is our best hope of preserving them. As you leave the Echo River lopsided striped bat hibernaculum and sanctuary, please make sure your vehicle and clothing are free of hitchhikers. Concessions Kane. I don't. Like, I remember Team Hell No and Kane being kind of goofy there, but yeah, I don't remember Concessions Kane. Well, I guess we're past the bat sanctuary, so telephone exchange coming up. Oh, tunnel. That looks like Ezra, little boy. Oh, hi, I remember you. What are you doing out here? I'm just exploring. I like dark underground places. I'm a romantic. I think I'm more classical myself. That sounds like the same thing to me. Okay, bye. Careful up there. Can't drive your new truck if you slip and break your legs. You too, try not to make any more bad deals while I'm gone. I'll just be floating along down here. I just mean keep your eyes open and don't look back. Dashiell. Could be bypassed with another capacitor at 100 nanofarads to reduce noise. If your circuit's too noisy, you should tie those floating pins to the ground. Huh? That's a pretty good idea. They're probably picking up all kinds of radio interference. Dashiell Morse, pleased to meet you. We don't install this type of phone for customers anymore, but there are quite a few of them still in circulation. Anyway, the new system doesn't source enough current to ring these old bells, so I'm trying to come up with a workaround. Maybe a little box the customer could attach right before the wall jack. So you do still work here? On the tugboat, they weren't totally sure. Oh, well, yeah, I'm here just about every night. Is this your first time down here? Yeah, I can tell. Your eyes can't quite adjust to the light. It takes some practice. Believe it or not, I've been coming here since I was a kid, for one reason or the next. Back then, this place was a train station. It's true. They had bats then, too, but they were considered a nuisance. What did you come here for as a kid? I usually came here with my grandmother. We took the train out to the town she lived in, or in the other direction back to my parents' home. In my memories, it was always cold. Winter, I guess. Sometimes now I walk along the tunnel, run my hand along these wet stone walls and close my eyes. Ringing footsteps and the drip, drip, drip of the grimy stalactites. Well, the river shifted and this place slowly filled with water, carrying the trains away with the current. It does that, the river, and I don't begrudge it. It's a good reminder that everything we have is borrowed, even trains. Eventually, someone at the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces heard this place was still empty, so they moved the phone company in here. I returned here as a young lineman, a skill I picked up in wartime, running telephone wires behind enemy lines. We used trees instead of poles. I missed that, actually. They were easier to climb. It's just as well. I'm in no shape to be climbing anything these days. The closest I get is patching up the wiring in the crystal room for the WEVP folks. Do you ever know a girl named Weaver? Sure, Weaver Marquez. That's funny. I was just thinking about her. Yeah, I met her a couple times at the TV station. I suppose I didn't know her too well. She handled the archives, and I was helping with wiring and stuff. She really seemed to know her way around all that gear, though. She had a head for signals, I think. No idea where she ended up. I would guess she's probably not too popular around the station anymore, but I always liked her. Listen, miss, if you're interested in WEVP, you should go talk to them directly. They're always looking for volunteers. Take the ferry over to the silo. There's a mail stop there. They don't have a sign or anything. Just ask around. I guess I'll get back to this damn old ringer. Poppy's just a little further down if you're dropping off that package. Nice chatting with you. Abel and Eloise, the lovers' couriers. bred for racing. Abel and Eloise spent most of their lives as carrier pigeons in the employ of the Echo River Avian Post. They retired here after Abel was disfigured in an accident with a light aircraft, but old habits were hard to die. Abel and Eloise would pick up scraps of paper from the ground, the trash, even pull them out of pockets, and deliver them to other people nearby, to delight or embarrassment. Word spread, and travelers passing through this tunnel began to come prepared with love letters, poems, and other written desires to pass along indirectly through these pigeons. After a hard day's work, Abel and Eloise would always be found nestled closely together in a disused newspaper stand, set aside for their habitation, and that's where we left them. Aww. There's Poppy. Just set it right over there by the lamp, sweetie. Thanks. Actually, just a minute. Who does that parcel claim to be from? That's weird. There's no label on it. Well, if we're lucky, it's chocolates from a secret admirer, not a snake from an assassin. So, who are you? Do you work for the post office or the tugboat? I only ask because I haven't seen you before. Was that you I heard chatting down the hall? Yeah, I just met Dashiell. He's been working on that obsolete ringer, hasn't he? Poor Dashiell. You know, he's not really... He was let go a while back. A long while, actually. When they started restructuring, he was one of the first to go, but he talked them into letting him come every day and fiddle with some interminable project. He says it's to keep a long gap from growing his resume, but I think he just has nothing better to do. One of those old men who needs to work, you know, doesn't know how to be any other way. Well, there are no real jobs here, but there are fake jobs, I guess. It wasn't always like this. When I came to work at the Echo River Central Exchange, there were 12 of us. Loretta, Edna, Meg, Cara, Marie, Lois, Liz, Hester, Angie, Willie, Connie. I was number 12. Connie and I were hired on the same day, but she showed up early. Marie finished college, and Hester was fired for snapping at a root collar, but he had it coming, and here she just did fine on her own. So they hired Beryl, Jonna, and Shachiko, which brought us up to 13, and that was as many operators as we ever had here at one time. The power company came along, buying up all the lines, and one day they took the exchange as a throw-in, like it was nothing, and they started phasing us out. Edna, Meg, Kara, and Lois left one Friday evening and were asked not to come back on Monday morning. Beryl saw the writing on the wall and quickly found employment at a private PBX. Pardon me. They had Jana and Liz stop routing calls and write up some kind of best practices document instead. It was their final task as exchange employees. Some of the girls were reassigned to other divisions. Connie, I think, was checking residential meters. Shachiko and Wilma were moved into energy sales, cold calling businesses to see if they needed to upgrade their electricity plan. At least they were still on the phone. Then it was just Loretta, Angie, and me. We were swamped. The hours were hell and hard on the throat. The voice with a smile became a croak. I was gargling warm salt water in the break room, sipping from a thermos full of hot honey broth stashed under my chair. Oh, I brought a lot of extended technique to the switchboard in those days. Sounded pretty good to me. He's got the voltage too high. He'll burn out the relay. So, where was I? Hot honey broth and warm salt water. Right, and a healthy dose of slippery elm. I got that one from Kate. So, after a few months, it was just me. A new automation strategy was announced. This place was rechristened Consolidated Auxiliary Switch Number 30. It's automated. What do you do here? It's not fully automated. There are still gaps in functionality that need a human touch. And, you know, it really is all about touch here. Sound is a vibration, a touch you feel in your ear. So my voice is my touch. When we're talking, we're touching, even on the phone. That's an electric touch, an intimate little shock that makes your tiny hairs tremble. But that's not even what I mean. When I say it's all about touch here, when the power company first tried automating this old exchange with fancy new transistor arrays, the switchboard caught fire. It was just too much, too fast. So they tried using some clunky old mechanical relays, But then the calls were getting mismatched and out of sync. It was a nightmare. Their technicians determined that the phone system down here had been designed ad hoc over decades around the specific tempo of its human operators. So, short of replacing the whole thing, not to mention all the wiring, they'd have to work out the exact timing of every little human gesture that goes into routing a phone call. And that officially is my role here. I run the switchboard for the whole exchange. Once at the work of 12, I'd like to remind you. They have some kind of machine somewhere that tracks how long it takes me to do each little thing. Oh, about to sneeze. Pardon. The caller never hears my voice now. They dial, a little indicator light switch on, and make the connection. It's in that it needs to happen, but it's not happening phase. Do you miss talking to callers? You know, there is something that bothers me about the process, besides the fact that I'm training my replacement, who isn't even human. Here's what I mean. How long do you think it should take to time my every move and recreate the timing in an automated switchboard? Rough estimate. Couple days? That's what I said, but this has been going on for over a year. The very dark thought has started to nag at me. What if there is no cheap machine that's going to replace me? What if it's cheaper just to keep me here, filling in for the rhythm of the operators? What if I'm the cheap machine? Oh, damn. Bless you. Thank you, Dorcax. Yeah. Oh, where was I? I was reading about that. How... Well, I mean, that's kind of just old hat, isn't it? The idea of human workers being cogs in the machine of capitalism. Why don't you just quit? In this economy? No, you're probably right. Working in silence for peanut shells, waiting to be replaced by a robot, doesn't sound very dignified, does it? The reality is that I've been working here for my whole adult life. I came here as a girl, and I'll leave as a middle-aged woman. I don't know if I'm ready to be her yet. I sound like Dashiell, haha. Oh, the parcel, right over there by the lamp is fine. Thanks for dropping that off. Take care. Think of me when you dial 0. Oh, look, there was a third in the boat. I guess they were here to pick up Conway. Yep, the statics, every time the skeletons appear, the static is with them. So Conway was finally taken by the Consolidated Power Company. Damn, stupid nose. And I could either rescue Homer or leave him there. I accidentally left him there last time. She returned on the dinghy alone. She had a strong and sudden urge to shut the motor off and let the current take her, but she couldn't work out where that impulse came from, so she did her best to resist. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to blow my nose. Be back in a sec. Hopefully that's better. Yep, poor Conway was taken even before he could make his delivery. But he left his truck to Shannon. So she couldn't work out where that impulse came from, so she did her best to resist it. She met a guitar player pedaling a floating bicycle with his dog in tow. He said they took turns. The water was cold, and the floating bicycle, while technically marvelous, wasn't quite buoyant enough for the both of them. Swimming is hard work, the hardest work that dog had ever done, he expected. They had been traveling this way for most of the night, struggling through the icy water. stopping to recover when they could find a rock large enough to start a small campfire. He had his belongings stuffed into a weathered guitar case at the end of a thin rope. It floated pretty well, so he only had to keep an eye on it and occasionally free it from a rock or some driftwood it was caught on. She invited him to ride a ways on the dinghy. He appreciated the offer, but they weren't in a hurry. She met a painter of shipwrecks. He never worked from photographs, so his paintings could be divided into two categories. There were the ones he painted from life. The Echo River was a very good source for these because its currents were so unpredictable and the tunnels so dark. He rendered these in oil paint by lamplight, working for hours cross-legged on the porch of his houseboat/studio. Then there were the ones he painted from memory, mostly the memory of a single wreck he encountered as a much younger man, picking up litter where the coastal highway cleaves to the rocky beaches of northern California. These were done in watercolor. He preferred to work on them in the morning in a room he rented near the airport in Louisville. He had some postcard-sized sketches in charcoal, too, of the Iron Pariah. It wasn't a wreck exactly, but it felt right. He tried to scribble one down every time he encountered it. Though it was so unpredictable and he was so focused on details, he usually just ended up with a handful of inscrutable marks. She met a family of 5 on a flat-bottomed skiff. The boat was loaded to capacity with black plastic bags and a few larger pieces of furniture wrapped in blue tarp. 3 paddled, the 2 adults and the older child. The 2 younger children slept. They'd been traveling all night, first by car and then for the last few hours by boat, hungry and tired. They didn't plan to stop until they reached West Virginia, where a relative had offered to take them in. But the adults were happy to take a break from paddling in weary silence. They asked her about her river journey. She said she was on the way to Salmonitis. They'd brought some food. The kids had picked the garden clean earlier in the day, so they'd been stacking on fresh bell peppers and tomatoes and some crackers, rationed carefully for the trip. They wished her well and paddled on towards West Virginia. She gave in, shut off the motor, and floated for a while. Then she knew what she'd been craving, a moment of silence. The silence is deafening. There's Salmonitas. Act 4, Scene 8. Salmonitas. Dun 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 dun. That's okay, Dorcax. I understand. Just enjoy yourself, take it all in. And if you have to do other stuff, I understand that too. Hey, it's Homer. I'm glad I picked them up this time. Why can't I talk? Ah, there we go. Shannon scratches Homer behind his ear. Shannon inspects Homer's eyes. Homer's left eye is clouded by a dense cataract. She can't tell if Homer is staring back or just staring. Aw, maybe I should have left him back there. She looks a bit longer but can't find any sign of recognition. Oh, poor Homer. Hello out there. Headed up or down? I'm just looking for the crew at the Mucky Mammoth. Yes, ma'am. They stop here every morning. I expect they're upstairs now and you just got the coffee going. I could use the cup myself. It's cold down there. Oh, yeah. I should probably make coffee for the next hour. Well, head on upstairs and she'll take care of you. I'll be along in a minute. Well, if you're distracted by other things, Dorcax, I could start a conversation. What what are you playing recently? Not even for a video. What are you playing? I've been putting in an hour here and an hour there of Wolfenstein: The New Order. That's been pretty great. Just in time. We're already finished eating, but we're about to place the to-go order for Clara. She's back on board, getting ready for her show. Take a look at the menu. I'm sure there's something you'll like. Ida is a bit of a local celebrity for her cooking, I mean. Hey, Ezra was just asking about you. He's around the corner playing a video game. Maybe go let him know you two are back, or... Where's the old man, anyway? Oh, bad luck. You'll get it next time. Hey, you got a quarter? He's almost got this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is special. Like, all the reasons people don't like it, I completely understand it, but I don't know, maybe I didn't even play it at a formative time. I played the first game like in the mid 2000s, and then 2 and 3 pretty quickly after, and then 4 came out and played that because I got a PS3 and that was great. But I didn't like 5. And I have a plan. I'd love to go back and do all the Metal Gear Solid games videos, and maybe that would give me an excuse to play through 5. But like 1 to 4 are just and 2 is one of those. Like 2, at the time, it's known as the weird one. It's known as the one that people maybe like the least. But the last time I played it, like the last hour of that game is maybe the last hour and 90 minutes or 2 hours, but it is nothing short of just brilliant. Yeah, 3 just has so many good moments. Even 1, I mean, you just played it, but 1 is just so special. And it's, there are plenty of the little quirks that Kojima throws in that people like to talk about, like the Psycho Mantis fight, or even how you had to read the radio frequency for Meryl on the back of the CD case. But all the games have those little fun, little weird things, but there's just such a depth of what you can do in the game space, combined with just these plots that are just so captivating with such weird characters that it just, none of it should work. But Kojima and his team, they seem deft enough at just weaving it all together and making it something that really lasts and is special. Oh, yeah. Vulcan Raven. He's so interesting, isn't he? and what happens to him right at the end. And the Liquid Snake. Like, it's more to do with something that happens in Metal Gear Solid 2, but to this day, even in my head, I'll just randomly go, brother! Yeah, it's and of course, David Hayter's Metal Gear performance. It's iconic. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, I'm getting excited just talking about Metal Gear Solid again. I need to move those games up. I need to do them soon. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is special. I'm trying to it has been a long time since I played the first game, so I've just got like little fragments in my head. Like Vulcan Raven stands out, Psycho Mantis stands out, the Hind D fight stands out. The final confrontation with Liquid stands out. Everything else is a bit of a blur. Oh, the first fight with Revolver Ocelot, I remember that. I played it for impressions when it came out, so I played about 5-6 hours. So no, I haven't played through it. It is on my list. You remember, like at the start of the year, everyone was tweeting out those. These are like 4 games I want to play through in 2023. Yeah, Death Stranding was on that list for me. It's finally time I need to knock it out of the park. Like, yeah, almost everything I've played by Kojima has been really interesting. He's someone I really respect in the game sphere. You know, even they're much rougher to interface with today. But if you go back and try out like Metal Gear 1 and 2 on the MSX, because the NES ports aren't as good as the MSX versions, those are interesting games. I've always wanted to play Snatcher. Police Knots is often brought up, but the thing like with Snatcher and Police Knots, I don't think they were ever officially translated, but of course there are fan patches. Oh yeah, that's something that's through all his games. Dorkex, like just the amount you can do with the game. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a really interesting one for that. There are videos out there of people just fiddling around with those systems, like playing around with them, and the depth of the fun you can have once you really kind of understand how everything works is quite remarkable. Okay, I will continue because it's almost time for another break, but I'd like to finish this scene before I break. It's true. I have 1 quarter. Thank you. So, where's... that's a nice little that's a nice little choice there. He left or they took him. Kind of means the same thing, but it doesn't. Oh, yeah. Growing up with Zelda, yeah. Zelda items are very... is transactional the right word? You're more in the right space where they have very specific uses. Obviously, Breath of the Wild is a little different, but I even feel with like the rune powers in there, they're you can't really do too much with them, and the uses for them are very structured out. Even out in the world, there's only so much you can play around with regarding those powers, even though it feels a lot more open than like previous games. Yeah. So of course I'm gonna pick They Took Him. Damn, yeah, he really got himself in a situation there. Yeah, I'm gonna go sit down. Cool. The food is good here. I think everyone else is finishing up, but you could probably get something to go. All right, Clum, Maestro, let's give it another shot. So let's see what's on the top of the pile here. There's a stuffed octopus, a plastic bag full of clamshells, a cowboy hat, some big headphones. That octopus has a leg wrapped around the boombox underneath it. The shells are pretty clear, but I don't know if the claw can really grip the bag well. The cowboy hat is in the corner, so it's kind of tricky to tell if it's wedged in or not. Those headphones might be a good bet, but I can't see the cord. It could be wrapped around something. What are you going to try for? I don't know if it's always been this way, but I know now, like the modern claw games, it doesn't matter if you're full on. There's a random chance that, and it's like the jackpot in a gambling game. There's a random chance that the claw will actually fully grip onto something. Most of the time, it will only do a half grip, which if you're like perfect, you could still probably get something, but it's going to come loose really quickly once the claw tries to go back to the start. Now, I don't know if it's always been that way. I kind of remember that claw games were just hard to get a good grip on. But yeah, the way they work now is bullshit. What would Ezra like? I have a feeling he'd go for the clamshells. Worth a shot. Okay, when I put this quarter in, you'll have about 8 seconds to grab your prize. The shells are on the left near the back. Let me know if you need help lining it up. I've got a slightly different view of the field from up here. Ready? Here we go. Johnny inserts the coin and the machine awakens. Listen to that sound. 8. The claw hovers in the front left corner of the machine. Let's go up. 7. The claw hovers halfway along the left wall of the machine. Let's go right. 6. The claw hovers in the center of the machine. Let's ask Johnny. You're too far to the right. You need to push it back further. So, too far so left and up. Four. Yeah, looks good to me. Go for it. The claw drops. It grabs the shells. The bag of shells is not substantial enough for the claw to hold. They tumble back out as it rises away. Yeah. Damn, you had it. Too bad those shells weren't in a styrofoam cup or something. Hey, listen. It sounds like that old man you were following around. I guess he had to leave. Is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. I mean, I'm sure he could be better, but I don't think we need to worry about him. Anyway, I don't know what kind of plans you have now, but if you need help figuring out your next move, you can always talk to me and Miss Junebug. I just wanted to make sure you know that. He could go back, or he could keep going with them. Could I keep going with you? Hey, I've got no objection. We have a pretty ad hoc thing going on, me and Junebug. I'd have to talk to her, but I bet you're welcome to tag along for a while if you're into it. Hey, maybe we still have time to poke around this place for a little. They have some pretty well stuff in here. Hey, did you see this? They keep a table full of fake food over here. I don't know why. Actually, I think it might be real food coated with shellac or something. I always like that word, shellac. Preserved. Oh, and look, this tentacle-looking thing is half-eaten. This is someone's meal that they didn't finish. I dare you to take a bite. Try playing Tenchu on the PS1 today. Now that's the ninja stealth game, isn't it? And like I remember trying one of them on the PS1 and the PS2, and it was all about getting to the rooftop, but I couldn't get very far. I can't remember if it was a rental or not. Maybe it was just a demo. That's a FromSoft series, isn't it? Like there was talk about maybe Miyazaki wanting to direct a Tenchu game after his last Souls experience. That could have been years ago now, though. I heard that. Oh, yeah. I think also a lot of those early stealth games are just so unforgiving. Like, it's funny how long that persists. That was something that really shocked me when I went back and played Far Cry 3 a couple years ago. How if you're in a mission and you step outside the bounds of the mission, even if you're like, I'm just going to run over here for a sec, there's like a hard fail state. Like the games were very much, no, you must do it this way. What's even wilder is those games are supposed to be open world games. Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe just Sekiro was heavily influenced by Tenchu. Haha, you first. No. Yeah, I don't blame you. If Sam and Ida preserved this half-eaten meal, it must have been pretty important to them, right? Maybe it belonged to someone they care about, like a beloved uncle had a mid-meal stroke. So they kept it in his memory. Huh. Yeah, like those sunflower seeds my folks left behind. Oh, I'm sure your folks are fine, though. Are you worried about them? Yeah, it's weird that they just disappeared. Yeah, listen, that's okay to be worried. You're doing fine. Ah, poor Ezra. Weird, somehow I thought it was his truck, and delivery and all. It was, that's what she's saying, but he gave it to her before they took him away. Huh. Acquire, making Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah, I'm hearing really good things about that as well, and I tried the first one when it was on Game Pass, but I bounced off it pretty hard. Like, it looked really good, but maybe I picked the wrong character to start with, but just like I wasn't into their story, and the turn-based combat was just like, it was too rudimentary, even though I love those games. So yeah, don't know. But I have heard that even people who bounced off the first game are enjoying the second one. But you're going to deliver it anyway. Why? He's my friend. He needs my help to finish his job. That's right. He's our friend too. Johnny and I will help you unload when we get there. To Johnny. Lift with your legs, Cricket. But Dorkex, if I recall, you're not really a fan of turn-based combat in games, right? So it seemed like the Octopath Traveler games are kind of throwbacks to traditional console RPGs of, like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo era. I don't know. Maybe it's good enough to be your thing, but yeah. Yes, ma'am. This must be Ida. So how was everything? How was the sweet cave snail? Devastating. You're a killer, Ida. Well, I can't take all the credit. Sam came across a whole cave snail colony down there about a year back. We've been leaving rock candy for them to gorge on since. We just started harvesting earlier this month. Yes, it's all about patience down here. Everything grows more slowly in the dark. There's there's a fish in Lake Leaf that lives to 200 years, and its flavor profile only develops at about 75. I've got a pot of bones in there that's been stewing for at least a week. I don't even remember why I put them on. Come to think of it, I don't even remember what kind of bones they are. Oh, we need one for the road. Clara said she wanted, something primordial, she said. What does that mean? Kate reviews the menu. Yeah, I've started playing Lord of the Rings Third Age, turn-based RPG, huh? Hold off until I played a few FF games, but screw it, dove in, digging it. Huh, well that's cool. Yeah, I love the FF games. That's another plan for the future, maybe starting this year, is to start a video critique series so I can play through all of them. Most of them for the second time, a couple of them for the first time. Actually, some of them for more than the second time. I think I played through FF1 and 4. FF1 I played through maybe 3 or 4 times. 4 I think I've beaten. No, 4 just the once, even though I played it a million times. Same with 6. Never beaten 7, 8, or 9. I've beaten 10 a couple times, I think. 12 just the once. 13 I gave up at the final boss. 14 I'm playing now. Although I didn't mention 11 because it's an MMO, so maybe I shouldn't mention 14. And 15 I bounce off. I wonder what 16 is going to be like. Oh, sorry. Did I space off? Yeah, but I have all these ideas I want to do, especially for like long-term, long-form projects as well. That's the thing, and maybe why I'll probably never stop doing this. I just keep having ideas for new videos I want to make because okay, here's the sick part. Because if I'm not playing a game for a video, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I have perverted my love of video games that I can no longer really just play for pleasure. Even though when I'm playing the games for the channel, I'm enjoying them. Like I am enjoying Breath of the Wild. Like it's got problems, but I'm enjoying it. And I guess that's part of this, trying to play through games in my evenings as well, trying to get back to just playing a game to play a game, to enjoy it. So yeah, I think I need to pull back from that need to turn, a lifetime hobby into what this is. But yeah, I will say, like, I'm playing, the New Order on just an hour here, an hour there, and just blasting Nazis on its easiest difficulty is very cathartic. And the story and the characters in that game are surprisingly compelling. As someone who played the first Wolfenstein in the early 90s, this is like a complete reimagining. Very different than what I thought it was going to be. But it's got some very, very confronting moments as well. I'm kind of interested to play through not only the Old Blood, but number 2 as well after this. Okay, you're the same Dark Axe. You recorded your MSG1 playthrough just in case. I've thought about recording my evening gaming sessions just in case, but I haven't been. So maybe that's a step in the right direction. You know what? It's 3:09. This scene's going to last a little longer. Plus, I like talking about games just so. Oh, wait, I can't actually pause in the middle. Okay, I'm going to wait till the dialogue stops. Then I'm going to pause and we're going to take a break. Oh, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I tried that a few times, bounced off a lot because, like, when you first go under the castle, like the opening section, the escape from Castle Wolfenstein is great, but then you go into the catacombs and you have to fight skeletons, and I don't know, the tonal shift just completely didn't work for me. God, I'm out of water. Yeah, I need to finish this up and or you know what? I could just leave it here. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. I'm going to let's see if I okay, that's still going in the background. So this is going to be a little odd, but yeah, no, those skeletons suck. And I remember once I pushed through the catacombs and got out the other side, but by then I think the game had worn off on me. So I never got too far in the game. I did play the multiplayer a bit because, it was still the early 2000s, and every game that had a multiplayer component I would play with friends. But, yeah. Anyways, okay, display capture off. I'm not going to be able to pause the game, so this opera is going to be in the background, but I'm going to put the big band music on as well, so this is going to be odd. I'll be back in about 5.
With this feeling I can leave. I'm walking and I'm dreaming. Will you dare to give it over and walk by my side? Do you see the road? Do you hear it's cold? Do you want a part of me? Just getting me above now. She's getting me above now. See the sun goes down, driving lights in hearts, counting trees around. This is our day to dream. My heart it's cursed with you. My heart is cursed with you. Just get me.
Well, this isn't jazz music. What the heck is that? That's so not jazz music. The playlist lied to me. Okay, well, I am returned. I think everything's all good. Definitely got to put the game back on. Oh, hello, Kenneth. You're joined. What have you been up to today? You always think everything needs more wub. Dorkax talking about Bioshock 2 multiplayer. Yeah, that would have probably been really interesting with all the traps. I think she meant something from very deep in the lake. Ah, could be. Hand Shannon the menu. Here, you pick. I'm no good at this. Shannon inspects the menu. How about... Actually, maybe I'm just getting hungry, but that sounds kind of good. Cedar plank cavefish with herb, red pepper crust, and butter sauce. Let's turn the page. Maybe grilled barnacle wrap. Blind salamander and broccoli fritters with banana sauce. Oh, oh. Is there a third page? Eat a smoked crayfish spread with New York toast. Mollusk log. Mollusk log. Oh. Wii U 3DS to buy stuff before the store shuts down. Ah, I see. You gotta keep those games installed in your system until it breaks, damn it. Yeah. Kenneth has a PS4 with PT on it, so he's never gonna let that thing go out of his sight. Ah, sounds good, Dorkax. I played... Oh, I got an achievement for Here You Pick in the corner. Yeah, I did a whole series of videos on the Bioshock series, and that was my first time playing 2 for that video. And there were a lot of technical problems. I had to restart that game a lot just because of things weren't working correctly. But when it finally got down to the end, it was pretty good. Balsamic spinach. Well, I mean, there's just vinegar and spinach. There's nothing there. Old shrimp with rice and squid. Blind prawn and cauliflower cakes with Cajun marmalade. Let's do the old shrimp with rice and squid. Good choice. Your friend will love it. I'll have that right out, sweetie. Is this Pavarotti? Ezra leans over the table and carefully examines the preserved food and drink. 2 is the best of the 3, don't at me. But you're a gameplay guy. I guess, yeah, 2 has better player expression. Like, when I played 1 along with everybody, what was cool was talking... Because what happened, I was at uni at the time, and Bioshock came out over break. So when I came back from break, me and all the other guys... We're talking about how we played Bioshock, because everyone seemed to gravitate towards, either traps, or I did the old zap and clonk most of the game. But I guess that was just so novel at the time. 2 kind of upped the ante, and then Bioshock Infinite was a regression of that. So from a gameplay standpoint, yeah, 2 would be the pinnacle. And actually, I'd say... from a story standpoint too, not Bioshock 2, but I think Minerva's Den is the best thing out of that entire series storyline wise. The Tale of Ken Levine. Do 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 do. That's Big Daddy's in one, yeah. Definitely. Even late in the game when I was like decked out, they still kind of provoked anxiety in me when I wanted to go take one down. Also because I didn't really want to take them down, but had to do it for the extra atom and everything. He runs his finger along a grayish claw. The surface of the claw is completely smooth. And that was the small one. They're asymmetrical. Sorry, I startled you, sweetie. Whose food is this? This is the diver's table. This was the diver's meal. This food is about 15 years old. It's true. Things were different then. Nobody came to eat here. We were fighting just to keep the lights on. Sam, my husband, Sam was depressed. He couldn't catch anything. That was part of the problem. Most of what we served was shipped and frozen or dried, and I just threw it in the fryer. We've both come a long way since then. Well, 2 young men came in for dinner. Seasoned divers, they said, over 10,000 hours between them, and like leave alone. They'd been out all day salvaging parts from a riverboat wreck. Had worked up a fierce hunger, they said. They ordered the whole menu without even looking. It was a short menu in those days. I sat them right here and went back to the kitchen. Sam was at the next table doing a Sudoku and drinking malt liquor, his usual routine at the time. Yeah. That was the cool thing about the Bioshock, the Big Daddy fights, the plan until you wanted to initiate, as long as you weren't in their way. I remember I used a lot of bees. Throw bees at them! An hour later, I was cleaning up when Sam came bursting into the kitchen. Ida, he said, kind of frantic, these divers are still hungry. Bring them another course. And I said, they already ordered the whole menu. Sam said, make something new. Keep making up dishes. Whatever. Just keep bringing out food. So I did until the small hours in the morning. I made up so many new dishes that night I could write a book. It was good, inspired. But I was working so hot and fast at the burning edge of inspiration, I didn't think to write any of it down. And I was so wrecked with exhaustion the next day, I knew I couldn't remember what all I'd done in the kitchen. Trap rivets. The shock trip lines were pretty good. I think actually bees and electric shotgun was kind of my go-to. It's funny, with the game, seemed to incentivize creativity and exploration with the mechanics. But just like the shock and bam, I'm one of those players, that will, once I find something that works, I won't deviate. I kind of ruin the fun for myself. That sounds like a good idea. The Assassin's Creed series is another long-form video series I've had an idea for a few years. But yeah, I think also going back to kind of the games you played in your formative years and exploring them now with some time removed is always fruitful. That's one reason I'm enjoying the idea of this NES project so much. I've just touched on it, because I only did the launch titles, but even so far in the 1986 video, some of the games I played so far, I have stories because they were just a big part of kind of what got me into games. And it can be comforting to revisit that stuff. Sam thought we could take a photograph of the leftovers, but we couldn't get the lighting right, so we just shellacked the whole table. Now when I need inspiration for the menu, I come and look here and think about all those ingenious dishes I threw together for those divers. Of course, they didn't pay their full bill. I heard one of them complaining to the other, let's just pay half and let them charge the other half to whatever demon in the kitchen kept making our food faster than we could ask for it. But it all worked out. Things have really turned around since then. This place is actually pretty popular now. The success in our expanded menu inspired Sam too. He started bringing back the most magnificent ingredients from his nightly dives. I'd better get to work. Stay right here, sweetie, and I'll bring you a treat on my way back out. What's that? Well, buddy, I guess you're the catch of the day. The one and only, ha ha. So, what are you? You look like, well, some kind of eel, I guess. Kind of a mopey little guy, huh? Yeah, I can see it in your eyes. You smell like kind of dusty, dry. Where the hell have you been swimming? Skin feels like sandpaper. Huh, well, she'll figure something out. I think I'll call you Grit Eel. Well, also the whole idea of you're talking about how Bioshock's kind of a watered System Shock too. I mean, yeah, but it's also a different thing. And System Shock 2, while it's not as easy to go play these days, you can still play it. And I don't know. It's like, yeah, I look back at especially Infinite. In the first one, they're not, well, okay, no, actually, I think the first one is legitimately a masterpiece in certain parts. The intro sequence, the scene with Andrew Ryan, and just kind of how it's structured. You know, you cut out the section after you meet Andrew Ryan, and while there won't be any conclusion, you'd have to rewrite the ending, but I think would be an all-timer there. It's just, there's so much about that game I do like, even if the parts that don't work kind of are glaring these days. And I'll just say, though, it's kind of embarrassing to look back at now, but when I finished Infinite for the first time, I like walked around my place for like an hour just like going, whoa, man, whoa, oh my God. Like, I was so taken back by that. It is embarrassing now to think of. Have you ever seen a creature like me before? Oh, yeah. Welcome to Staminitas, the one and only Grit Eel. I hope you enjoy your stay. I mean, not too much. Have you ever seen a creature like me before? You were pretty far down there. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm the first, except there were 2 divers who went before me long ago. Maybe that was before your time. How old are you, anyway? I wonder. I ate here once, back in the bad old days. 2 young guys, could have been brothers maybe. I was over in the corner with my coffee and crossword. I hadn't been able to catch a thing, so we just fried up something from frozen. Well, these guys were hungry enough to eat it and asked for more. And they did at least as much talking as eating. See, like I said, they were divers, and like I said, they might have been brothers. They had a kind of a rivalry going on between them or something. Ida was about to write up their check, but I slipped calmly and quietly into the kitchen for a minute, told her to just keep bringing out food. I figured they wouldn't notice, caught up in their boasting as they were. I wanted to listen. They went back and forth for hours about all the deep and dangerous dives they'd been on, new tunnels they'd discovered, all the weird creatures they'd encountered at the weirdest depths of Lake Leaf. It was like a dance. No, like a boxing match. Each story went deeper than the last. I listened to every word of it, memorized every description of every tunnel and diving route they've discovered. That's my map now. You see, for 15 years I've been using routes those 2 young divers discussed right there at that table. Yeah, I could write a guidebook to the depths of this lake, but I don't dare. Someone would steal my good diving spots. Then where would it be? See, people come here from all over just to try our daily catch because they know it's unique. Ain't you proud? Since I can't write any of it down, I just preserved that table where they had their meal so I can look at it and jog my memory, like they were eating pickled crab when they talked about that shipwreck full of salamanders. Pretty clever, huh? It's my own secret code. Well, I'll be straight with you, Grit Eel. There is one feature of this arrangement that I find unsettling. In fact, I lose a decent amount of sleep over it. I told you those boys were competing, right? One-upping each other. I mean, each getting wilder and more adventurous as they traded tales. Well, I navigate mostly in the dark down there, just going by touch and the kind of mental picture I can construct from their detailed boasts. Every time I explore a new diving spot from those recollections, I have to weigh it all against the risk that I'm headed right into a dangerous falsehood. One of those men could have felt for a moment like he was losing some ground in their little duel, so he could have slipped a fake one in there. Maybe told a fib about some dive he went on and found a colony of blind shrimp living in a discarded refrigerator. And when I get down there, my diving bell cracks open on a sharp rock where he said that fridge would be. That's the end of Sam. That's the end of Sam of Salmonitas. To be honest, that possibility puts the fear of death in me every time I touch water. Damn. Hey, Sam, good haul tonight? Remember telling my friend it's the best game he'll play or something stupid. Yeah. That ending really affected me. I just thought it was so clever. I guess also, like, we weren't so inundated with the idea of multiverses as well. It just, what it ended up being really, really affected me. Of course, replaying it for my video, I'm like, works, I guess. It's kind of like, I can no longer ignore everything else wrong about the game. Like with Bioshock 1, I can ignore the bits I don't like because the rest is so strong. With Infinite, I can't really do that. And with Burial at Sea, I really can't do that. We'll see what she can make of it. Yeah, pretty good, I think. I had some trouble down by the narrow tunnel. Some kind of fast-growing freshwater barnacles just about sealed it up. I picked away for half an hour before I gave up and went around the other way. But I got the catch of the day. That's the important part. That's what people travel for. What's the catch today? This here's a grit eel. Mopey, sandpapery old eel. I don't know how she'll fix him, but that sandpapery quality ought to do something for, what do they call it? Mouthfeel. Yeah, I never played Burial at Sea until I was making these videos, and yep, not great. But you know what? I think it's worth playing just to go, wow. Especially, it's like, if you actually liked Infinite, Burial at Sea kind of shits all over it. Yeah. It's something. It's got such a good premise too. The idea of being back in Rapture and being a private eye, and Elizabeth being the femme fatale, and obviously this is another timeline, so to see what happens there, but then it kind of all falls apart. Can't really talk about it without ruining it. I don't want to do that on stream in case someone's listening that really wants to go play the game. I would recommend maybe you can go back and check out my Burial at Sea video, because with the Infinite and the Burial at Sea video, the only time I've ever done this, I do a plot recap before I talk about the game critically. And I just like doing that so much, I've never done it again. But yeah, so you could watch that video, watch the plot recap, and kind of get the beats and then see what I thought of it. Also, well, those videos aren't great just because my criticism isn't really that strong, I don't think. I'd have to go back and watch them to see what I think. Okay, so mouthfeel. Will you stay for a drink? I've got a dark rum that goes well with coffee. Ooh, dark rum and coffee. That does sound good. It's a bit early for me. Yeah, seems like it's always too early. Oh, she's got your food ready. You all enjoy your meal, all right? I like that little story. Huh. The banjo player's a wreck? The guitar player? Oh, is this the guitar player with his dog? Yeah, just that story about that table. And
this world is not my home. I'm just passing through.
oh wow.
My treasures and my hopes are placed beyond the blue. Many friends and kin have gone on before.
It's not just that it's hard to write, Dorkax. This is kind of one of my, just what I don't like about other creators, but I find so many people equate criticism with, I'm just going to do a plot recap, or at least they start off with that. And I don't know, I just felt I couldn't talk about Infinite or Burial at Sea without mapping out the plot beforehand, maybe even to get my own thoughts right. But man, this scene's great, and here I am talking about Bioshock Infinite over it.
To heaven's open door, and I can feel at home in this world anymore.
But anyway, it was, maybe I needed to do that as well, because after those videos, I decided I'm never doing a plot synopsis again, and I'm pretty much now firmly in the camp of, I'm going to say there's going to be spoilers if I do talk about spoiler stuff, but my videos are now for people who've played the game or who want to hear what I have to say even if they haven't played the game. And yet, sure, that limits my audience, but it's what I want to do. It's kind of sad that she's walking down to the dinghy alone too. Ah, yeah. No, that's a good point. You know, you just did your video in Shadow Rome. If you're talking about a game no one knows about, it's probably a good idea to go through the plot. But also, like, your approach, well, at least the way it feels to me, is you want to talk about every aspect of the game in turn. So, of course, you're going to have to at least lay out the beats of the story if you want to talk about the story, right? She returns to the tugboat. Oh, Shannon's alone now because Conway is no longer there. You know, just because, I guess... Huh. See that? Just looks like a swirling mess of garbage, doesn't it? Well, that's what it is. I don't know why trash seems to collect right there of all the spots on the lake. It's always been that way. Everyone just navigates around it like it was an island or something. I think I see some desks and chairs swirling around the edge there. Those all in one desk, like they have in schools, if I remember right. It's been a few years since I saw the inside of one. Those must have washed down from somewhere. I've never known there to be a school on the lake. Just a school of fish, ha 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 ha. Oh, there was Gemini School of Beauty. It was run by sisters, Cassie and Paula. Indistinguishable except for their haircuts, but I wouldn't think they'd have used desks like that. We used to stop there most every night to let someone off for a cheap haircut. Student stylists, you know. They spared many a sailor the pain of a botched do-it-yourself do. But all sailors need bowl cuts. But I guess they got in deep to the power company. Those blow dryers and curling irons burn a lot of coal. It's a shame they had to close down. The haircuts are gone, but the hair keeps growing. Not mine. I think that's one of the reasons my Resident Evil video is my favorite now. Basically, I only talk about stuff I want to and feel the need to explain it. Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to make it like sound negative, but I think I did say how I really liked that video because you did just kind of focus in on what you wanted to talk about and then you moved on. Maybe it helped that you were covering more than one game. So maybe it didn't feel right for you to go that in depth on everything for all three games. Whatever the reason, yeah, I thought it was really cool. And it's a shame that it doesn't seem it's done as well as your other stuff, because then it disincentivizes you to explore that style more. Yeah, this cluttered place makes a decent local museum. It's as good a history as I could ever tell. But also, like, what you're... You know, just because that's the style I maybe prefer, do not take my opinion as a sign to need to change or anything, because obviously what you are doing is working, especially for you. We arrived at a small houseboat neighborhood that sometimes hosted concerts for the pleasure of its residents, where Clara was scheduled that night to perform. Oh yeah, Clara's on the boat. She's performing. Oh, that's where Clara's performing. Junebug and Johnny watched the show from the dockyard with the others. Man, I thought we were near the end, but it might go on for a little while more. I'm going to see if I can finish Act 4 before I end today. A neighborhood. Oh, this might be like Act 3, you know, that really beautiful music number that happened in that bar. This could be like that. Oh, she's using a theremin. I always found the theremin very cool. Oh. I remembered this. I told you she... Yeah, you don't have to say it. Only because it's always true. She played at the flower shop. Cyrano opened. He was having trouble with his tape machine, so he just droned out at the lap steel. He got really into it, and he went on like forever. Everyone was falling asleep. For me, it was more the fact that everyone had talked about RE, so I would have felt redundant to do a full critique on it. I guess that's true. But, you know, the way I look at it, because I've had those fears as well, especially like covering a game like BioShock or Dark Souls, you know, the idea that can I add anything new to the conversation? I think I've landed in a place where we all bring something unique to the table based on our life experience. Who we are, what we're interested in, our past, you know, the people we know, the people we love, the adventures we've had. Just so you know, like two people playing the same game, if they're interested in talking about the game, they're going to gravitate towards different things, even if maybe they share some similarities of how the work resonated with them. So I think I'm fully more on board now with the idea of, yeah, people talked about this game, but I want to talk about this game. And maybe I won't be saying anything new, but I'll be saying it in my way, which hopefully has some importance to the people who like my work. And yeah, I think that's often something to keep in mind. Not everyone. I remember the air was warm, perfumed. You were playing with some petals you found on the floor, and I was looking at the ceiling. I remember the ceiling was glass. During the week, that room was a greenhouse. I don't know where they put all the plants when they had bands in, maybe outside if the weather was nice. It was nice that night, warm, smelled like spring. I remember the folding chairs, so uncomfortable, but I guess it was their only option. They had to pack everything up during the week so there'd be room to display the flowers. Wow, look at Ezra. He's wrapped. Haha, yeah, he's really into it. So, we were talking about him earlier at the gas station. Sure, I haven't forgotten, Cricket. Cool, yeah, I know. Annie, what do you think about Ezra traveling with us for a while? We were in the back. Just watching Cyrano. Cyrano was really getting into it. We just let it wash over us. I started nodding a little. He pinched my elbow, and we slipped quietly out of the room. If I sound hesitant or something, it's just... When we met, we were nothing. Just these little gray shadows. And we grew and filled in, but we did all that together. Ezra, sure, he's a kid, but he's already a person. What would that do to our system, our chemistry? Ah, yeah. I like the relationship of Johnny and Junebug. Oh, and look, the camera has zoomed in. They're the only ones there in silhouette. We took a wrong turn in the hallway and ended up in the basement. I remember the air was cool and damp like a cave. I remember the lingering perfume of the greenhouse giving way to an earthy plant smell, like we were digging down into the roots. The grimy door in the corner caught my eye. I remembered the door was stuck. There was a large gap underneath it. Huh. Too spooky. Shined a light under the door. Through the gap, I could see brightly colored paper. You reached your arm under the door. You came back with a handful of dirt and confetti. You forced the door. It wasn't as stuck as we thought. The door burst open and we fell through. Hey, I got the masters for the new record back from Lazar. They're okay, but what? You listened to them without me? You were at the pet shop. I didn't think I could tear you free. Oh, okay. Anyway, there are a few spots where the strings distorted a little. The whole thing has way too much reverb, but overall it sounds pretty good. The new drum machine fits right into the mix. Nice. The only question is how to do it live. I can't control the drum machine and sing and dance at the same time. You've got your hands full of guitar. You need Ezra! We switched on the lights. The room was crowded with colorful wreaths for births, quinceaneras, weddings, funerals, celebratory wreaths. Any word with THS at the end is my bane. But there was something kind of sad about it. We got back to the greenhouse just as Clara was tuning up. She relaxed her shoulders, took a deep breath, raised both hands into their precise positions. The room started shaking. Clara hit a note that made the glass rattle in sympathy, a perfect 2 octaves lower. She looked like a sorceress, tearing down the building with an effortless wave and incredible focus, coaxing the empty air into some kind of moaning, rattling demon. That's the thing about the theremin. It's the only instrument you never touch. Ha! You could see a wave of concern propagating through the greenhouse, people looking up at the trembling glass ceiling, looking at each other to see if anyone else was worried, trying to catch Clara's eye and discern if she was doing it on purpose or not, if she were really trying to bury us all in glass. So listen, if that kid really wants to tag along, you really want to try making this a trio, then I guess. Think you could teach that kid to play a drum machine? Ma'am, I could teach a dog to play a drum machine. Well, that'll be our backup plan. It was a tense 5 minutes. We, the audience, alternated between fearing for our lives and lamenting hers that could have given her the kind of emotional experience to play this devastating song. So what I really like about this is Conway had a bad end. He's gone. Maybe we can get him back. We're not getting him back. Conway's gone. When I said that, I'm like, is that a spoiler? He got sucked into the Consolidated Power Company. But we have other characters here. What's going to happen to Shannon? But more importantly, what's happening to Ezra? This little kid has been tagging along with us. He doesn't have parents. So this conversation here where Junebug and Johnny are talking about maybe taking him in and being able to make something else with the three of them, I think that's very beautiful. And that it's like Conway, we couldn't save Conway. No matter what choices you make in this game, you can't save Conway. Maybe we can make a better life for the other characters, and that's something I really want to do. Then slowly, gently, Clara's hands came to rest. The theremin went quiet. The glass stopped rattling, and the room relaxed unharmed. That's the scene over. Yeah, I think we're pretty much near the end of Act 4. I think there's just one more scene. So hopefully next week I can play the interlude. If memory, Act 5 is actually pretty short. So I think we can get through that. And then there's a final interlude. I think maybe I can finish this next week. I met a photographer once. One in particular. She even took my portrait. I can't imagine why. She said it would immortalize me. That was a metaphor, of course. She meant I'd never be forgotten. As she was disembarking, not far from here actually, the film fell out of her bag and was borne away by the current. I was working on deck at the time. She shot me a sad, apologetic glance. But I wasn't bothered. It's no shame to be forgotten. It is a shame to have digestive problems when you're streaming. My secret shame. Oh, go eat some tulips. Scene 11. Same thing with the V and the 1, the X and the 1. I always have to do some mental arithmetic. Silo of late reflections. What's this place like, Dogwood Drive? It's in a small town, or it... I really don't know. I've got the manifest the old man had in his truck here. Reading, Lissette's Antiques. Mail order delivery. No return address. Shipping address 5 Dogwood Drive. Packing list. And then it's just numbers. I guess the inventory numbers of the antiques he was supposed to be delivering. Anyway, I'm glad you're coming with us. Yes, I'm always eager to see more of the country, and I enjoy the company. I will have to find a bus or a train to get on to Nashville by evening. Well, they have buses everywhere, right? Or, hey, I could drive you to Nashville. Seems I have a truck now. Only, how are we going to get it up these stairs? That's quite a staircase. There's no way to get this truck up these stairs, is there? Not with that attitude. No, there isn't. Looks like we're making the rest of this trip on foot. I don't even know what's in there. What if it's too much to carry? Nah, we've been loading and unloading gear since the stars were young. We're our own roadies, right? We've got expertise. All right, Cricket, let's get this delivery packed and tied into bundles. We're hiking it upstairs. What's in there? Antiques, I guess. Antiques. Yeah, antiques are... It's like junk, but people will pay for it. That's a very cynical view. He's not wrong. Oh. Sorry, I guess you'll be taking the bus after all. It's okay. It will be an adventure. Shannon sighs and stretches. Tired? Don't worry, lady. We're almost there. I'm glad I didn't leave Homer behind. Even though he seems to be catatonic. He's a dog. Catatonic. There's a joke in there somewhere. And that's Act 4. Go on. Tell me in Act 4. There we go. Come on, come on, come on. Yay. On Pueblo de Nada. Well, de nada means nothing, right? Pueblo. I don't know what Pueblo means. I only know the most rudimentary Spanish. By that I mean hardly anything. You ever come across a channel with a bunch of subs only then to see their content is now streams, let's plays that get like 1/1000th of views the popular videos used to get? I feel like I see this a lot these days, just wild, like a zombie channel, not dead but not really alive. I think it was something you said that actually made me really cognizant of that once I started streaming. The idea that if you go into a new channel and you just see a bunch of streams, at least for me, it's like, oh, okay, this is a streamer. Even if they do like more long form criticism stuff, it's just going to be not worth subscribing because your feed is just going to get spammed with live streams. That's actually, like I've said before, one of my secret guilty pleasures of YouTube is reaction channels. But I will never subscribe to reaction channels. Well, okay, I subscribe to a couple of them, but they put out like videos maybe one a day or a couple a week. There are some I watch which they put out like 5 a day, and you can't subscribe to those people, or at least more than one of them, because suddenly you're looking through your subs and you're just like, I don't know. I have a hard enough time now, like going through my subs and finding the stuff I actually want to watch, because it's like hidden in the middle of everything else. Like, it will happen where like I'll go back maybe a day later and go, oh, this thing came out. Yeah, I miss it. Yeah, I mean, apparently now all the live streams go into a live tab, but I don't trust YouTube to be the same for every user, so that's why I'm now going to keep the playlists going. The idea that only my latest stream will ever be like on my channel, and then if you want to go back and watch other stuff, I will have the playlists, and you can go back and watch those. Probably that's really bad for engagement, and YouTube probably really hates people who do that. I'm just spitballing here, but that's the way I want it. Yeah, that's the thing. There's just too much, and eventually you become numb to it. Like, it's that thing where if you're following someone, but you only maybe watch one of their videos a month, but they're releasing stuff daily, eventually even that one a month you want to watch, I think psychologically you start to blur over it. Like, it's no longer as important, because you're kind of having to sift through everything to find the thing you're looking for. The thing about YouTube is it's actually not really that hard to find something else to watch if you're not like completely enjoying what you're watching right now. There's just too much out there. Everyone's making stuff. Oh, apparently apparently there's no data again. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's a live section and there's a short section, but